Hi folks, welcome to America 2.0. This story is a little bit old, but this is coming from the LHC before they brought it up to spec and everything. Did you know that originally one of the shutdowns was because a bird dropped a piece of bread onto some of the exterior equipment? It's coming from Geekology, and basically, apparently coming back from the future to destroy itself wasn't the only problem the Large Hadron Collider had to face, but of crumb-dropping birds. The LHC, the world's most powerful particle accelerator, just cannot catch a break. They had a coolant leak that destroyed some magnets that guided the energy beam. The LHC officials postponed to restart the machine and additional safety features. Bird dropping a piece of bread on a section of the accelerator has, according to register, shut down the whole operation. The LHC was not operational at the time of the incident, but fail-safes would have kicked in. The machine was stopped anyways. So let me just talk about this, folks, because they supposedly started this thing back up. And my last video I did on this was before the startup. And I have to say, I've heard some really weird stuff coming out about the Large Hadron Collider. And I can't say that any of it's really true. Everybody's talking, well, this thing could bring us everything from time travel to interdimensional travel. This thing could bring us the singularity. Maybe the Higgs boson is the particle to bring the singularity into focus. And all this stuff, and that basically now they're saying that every single one of the major elements that we know of has a super form which has an individual unique element to the universe and the creation and maintenance of the universe itself. I've been reading all sorts of things, folks, and I want to go back to my original premise to explain something. And I wish I would have written this down, but I didn't. The reason you go and find a particle that you can smash together to bring matter mass is so you can find the in-between of that particle, ladies and gentlemen. If you're moving two electrons together at the speed of light, or thereof, and they form, they do the whole tear apart, the photon, the Higgs boson and everything, and you do that Higgs boson, and at that instant, or flash, or, 100 to 10,000 millis, etc. of a second and everything else, what do you have when you separate matter from mass, ladies and gentlemen? You have essentially created a hole through the veil, to use the term of the guy I was just watching. You put a hole through the veil, ladies and gentlemen. And so you have the Higgs boson here, and then you separate matter from mass for an instant in time, as much as you can think of it being. At that time, you can actually pull apart what we see here, folks, and look inside. Where you and I walk through life, la 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 la. They can actually tear it open and go through. And that's what they're doing here, folks. The reason you discover a particle that gives matter mass is so that you can separate it and go in between. Now, I've heard some of the upgrades, I've heard everything else, you've seen my other video, and I'm just going to basically restate the same thing. That what happens when you do discover that keyhole? Well, eventually what you do is you start finding particles and everything else you can so that you can hold that open a little bit wider, a little bit wider, a little bit wider, and a little bit longer each time until you can basically keep that thing open and send something through or have something come back. Now, here's the challenge, folks. If you're doing random experiments, that's fine. But when you do something random like discovering the Higgs boson and you basically flashpoint that energy, that gateway signature, and that time, right? Eventually, folks, it's going to flag on somebody's radar, and they're going to tune in. And when they tune in, folks, it's not going to be good. Now, I'm not an idiot. I know that whatever they're doing is being checked 10 million times by every agency and everybody that knows what's really going on. All right, I know about Project Phoenix, Montauk in the U.S., where they've already done time travel, they've already done the interdimensional shit. They're just bringing it all forward to the civilian world. So why they need this giant machine, I have no idea, folks. This is not specifically for time travel. This is not for interdimensional travel. This thing, nobody knows what the hell this thing is, folks. Nobody knows. Nobody knows why it has to be so freaking big. Nobody knows why they made it 10 times better than it was before. Obviously, for computer's sake, they had updated and stuff. That's fine. But reality being, folks, nobody really knows anything about this. And now CERN's pretty much its own individual country. It has its own border guards, its own police, and everything else. I haven't heard any major stories come out of it, but I imagine you get close to that, you're going to have guys in Jeeps coming out after you asking you, hey, sir, are you lost? Can I help you? He'd be like, yeah, man, I'd like a tour, please. Well, you got to contact our number and stuff and blah, 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 blah. But anyways, folks, I wanted to put this out there because somebody today mentioned something funny. And even though I know it's probably not related, about the time this thing started up, Putin did disappear. I know it's not related, but it's a fun little, tidbit. And, with everything going on, folks, and everything that everybody has said has happened around this area, the blackouts due to the massive amounts of power this thing is creating, blackouts over there in France and Switzerland and Belgium, and the area encompassing the CERN, whatever, buildings, base, I don't even know what its jurisdiction is. But basically, folks, when you start tearing apart that fabric, there's going to be a lot of interesting civilizations, beings, etc., that are going to notice that signature and going to kind of watch for that, and they're going to kind of tune in. Just like you can't basically tune your channel anymore to channels that aren't there because there's nothing to make money off of. I guarantee you, universally and interdimensionally, there's no way in hell to tune anything into a channel where somebody isn't listening. And I mean that from the best and, the best sources there are, I guarantee you, everybody from Air Force OSI that runs the satellite programs and everything else is wondering whether or not when this thing goes full force, if it's going to, bring in the ISS, if it's going to, send out an EMP wave that's going to kill all the satellites. We don't know, folks. There's thousands of practical and non-practical questions. And they've even, in my one video, they've even discussed the possibility that the reason they're doing this is to start to open a dimensional hole to see what's on the other side. I know enough about my physics and my science to know that the universe basically can heal itself, so I'm almost okay with them doing this because I know that this is not the first time this has happened. Maybe on this scale, but definitely not in terms of what's going on today, folks. Tell you what, if you've ever seen photos of the scientists working on that thing, the scientists are like this compared to that machine being, you know, I can't even do it because my hand's like way up here and this is down here, and I can't even tell you the level, but basically, folks, they need to tell us what's going on. They're not going to, but they need to. Because that thing is too massive to just be a particle accelerator. It honestly looks like they're given dimensions for something that has to come through. Now, granted, it's kind of strange that you would do anything like that because it's in a closed building underground, so if anything that big is going to come out, where the hell is it going to go? You know, there's no room for a spaceship to come through or anything, crazy. And I know I'm flying off the handle in that direction on that, but it's the same thing, folks. There's actually no good reason they have given to have this thing up and running, and nobody has been told anything good about this, folks. There is nothing that's coming out of France, nothing that's coming out of Belgium, nothing that's coming out of the Switzerland area, nothing that's coming out of the United Kingdom who's sending scientists. There's nothing coming out of the United States on this. This is a total blackout project, ladies and gentlemen. You know what? It could just be the world's biggest hadron collider, and that's it. And the stories are, ones that they're hoping will happen, in maybe 20 more years. But the singularity and everything else, folks, is around the corner. AI is around the corner. I've been following this story since it first came out. I've been following almost all the related stories. And, they're talking about having this thing at full power in May. And everybody's doing every check they can, but they're still seeing crazy stuff. I guess when they had this thing pumped up the other day, the sun's spot was spewing out stuff. And people were kind of concerned that that was going to do something. All right, folks. America 2.0 out. This is going to be some crazy shit.